Our next presentation will be by Deltapoint Incorporated, Richard Lazar.
Thank you and good morning. I'm Richard Lazar, the clearly overdressed founder and CEO of Deltapoint. And clearly the room is free for the spit speakers because there's nobody sitting up front. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I want to thank the Willamette Angel Conference for the opportunity to be here this morning and selecting us as a finalist and giving us the opportunity to tell the Deltapoint story. And our story began last year when I founded the company and licensed cancer diagnostic software algorithms from Oregon Health Science University. And I'll tell you a little bit about those in a minute. Our big, hairy, audacious goal for these algorithms is to help take the guesswork out of diagnosing cancer. We have exclusive worldwide rights to use this technology for all cancers and some other markets that I'll describe. And our first focus for this technology is the world of breast cancer. Why breast cancer? Because breast cancer diagnostic and screening is one of the biggest challenges in healthcare today. Many in this room, I'm sure, either have faced or know somebody who has faced the challenge of having breast cancer screened, diagnosed, or treated. And to give you a sense of the immense challenges this industry faces, over 40 million women a year go through imaging screening looking for suspicious things that might be cancer. The types of images that are used are mammography, ultrasound, and MRI. The quality of the imaging techniques vary, MRI being the best imaging technology, mammography the worst, even though it's used the most. Now the challenges emerge when you see that 750,000 to 1.6 million women are referred for biopsy after screening, and up to 75% of those biopsies turn out to be benign. Up to 9% turn out to be cancers that are not found. Those are known as the false positive and false negative problems. That's the standard of care in the industry right now, and it's frankly unacceptable. So how can Deltapoint help? Well, it turns out that the blood vessels in malignant tumors are more porous than the blood vessels in non-malignant tumors. They're leakier. So our technology analyzes MRI imaging data, magnetic resonance imaging data, and measures the water exchange speed that occurs within the blood vessels. A water exchange speed above a defined threshold signifies a malignant tumor. Below the threshold signifies a benign tumor. We have the only algorithms out there that actually account for this porosity or leakiness difference that occurs within lesions. We have solid intellectual property protection in the form of a filed patent. And clinical studies using this technology to date have resulted in only one false positive and no false negatives. In the world of healthcare, these are phenomenal results. This is an example of output from our analysis, and the red dots signify malignant areas of this particular breast lesion. We analyze at the pixel level. The blue pixels signify benign areas with gradations in between. Imagine this tool in the hands of radiologists either looking to watch this lesion over time or plan a biopsy and make sure they take the right tissue to avoid that false negative problem, missed cancers, if you will. So Deltapoint's impact really, the promise of Deltapoint is that it can help find more cancers earlier in their development. We can help reduce the number of women who undergo unnecessary biopsies, and we can help reduce the number of women who leave a doctor's office with undiagnosed cancer. The state of the technology is such that the algorithms we've licensed are done and ready for commercialization. We have a prototype that we use, and we showed the due diligence team from WAC, and we're in the process of developing our service delivery platform that I'll describe in a second. So a little bit about the breast MRI market. MRIs are a subset of that 40 million I mentioned earlier. It's the fastest growing segment of imaging, growing from about 1 million in 2009 to 4 million in 2015 for a couple of reasons. One, 3 standard-setting bodies, including the American Cancer Society, now recommend annual MRIs for women at high risk for breast cancer, 30 years of age or older. And MRIs are best at finding things, even very small things. The total available market by our estimate for our technology by 2015 is over 200 million, and we also have application of this technology in other markets for potentially other revenue streams. So we intend to bring this capability to market to help diagnose other cancers and to help with therapy monitoring and drug development. How can we get this fabulous tool into the hands of people who need it, the radiologists who need it? Our plan is software as a service as a model. We can take data from any MRI equipment, analyze it, it will be uploaded to Deltapoint, our back-end cloud servers. We'll analyze that data automatically and in very quick time return results back to the radiologist when that person's reading the case. Our revenue model is anticipated an annual subscription fee with a target price per study of $50 to $100. How can we get this out there in the market? We intend to leverage channels, the OEM MRI manufacturers, something called PACS vendors, imaging, storage, and management systems, teleradiology firms, and others in the women's health space like Hologic, and a small direct sales force to target large multi-site clients and influential customers. The category that we are in is kind of tools to aid radiologists in looking at breast MRI imaging. It's one of the hardest things for radiologists to read. That's why it's kind of a subspecialty within radiology. Not all radiologists want to do this. Unlike the current category of software out there called computer-aided detection, which simply looks at grayscale, we actually, as I mentioned, measure things like the water exchange speed and offer what's called specificity. That is, what is it you're looking at? Not just sensitivity, look here because there might be something you should be interested in. So Deltapoint is the only technology with the potential to offer diagnostic specificity. That is, the ability to tell a radiologist what a lesion is that he or she is looking at. Like any good entrepreneur, we project lots of fast-growing revenue and high profit margins. That said, we do see a path to significant revenue in this space, and this is just the first target market, breast MRI. And the high profit margins are a reflection of the software as a service model. We do have to go through the FDA because we're a medical device. We expect to go through the shorter, less burdensome 510(k) process. At worst, we expect that to take 18 to 24 months, but we're hopeful it will take much less. The scope of clearance we're asking the FDA for will allow us to use this technology in all of the markets I described. And one way we're managing risk is to use a very expensive but very good law firm in Washington, D.C., that, and a medical device software expert in the field who deals with FDA every day. I've been involved in healthcare since the 1970s as a provider, a consultant, a lawyer, and an entrepreneur. This is my fourth healthcare company. In addition, I founded an electronic discovery services company back in '99, raised $14 million, and in 4 years grew that from slide deck to high eight-figure market value and significant fast-growing, high-profit revenue, millions of dollars worth. Our CTO is very experienced, knows lots about imaging data, been around a long time, and we have a growing advisory board, including an imaging radiologist from MD Anderson in Texas, one of the leading cancer institutes in the world. So the promise of Deltapoint is that for relatively little capital requirements for a medical device company, we have the opportunity really to create significant enterprise value, help millions of people, and achieve an exit. There have been successful exits in the space that can be very material to investors. But also, we have the promise of impacting millions of patients every year who face the prospect of cancer. We're looking to raise up to $2 million over time. We won Angel Oregon for the first $175,000. If we're privileged enough to win this, we'll use this money as well as the Angel Oregon money to hit some what we call value inflection milestones. So unlike many technology-based companies, our value is not just a reflection of revenue. It's a reflection of other characteristics as well that can help drive enterprise value up very rapidly. FDA clearance, for example, can increase the value of the company instantly when we get that magic from the Willy Wonka days, the golden ticket from the FDA. There have been, as I said, successful exits in the space. The exit multiples for companies in our type of categories, we actually sit in two. Software as a service is one category, and healthcare software another. Independently, both have high value exit multiples. While I'm managing the company for a 4 to 7 year exit plan, there are some very big players who we believe can find very high strategic value in acquiring us and could very well buy us before this 4 to 7 year period. So again, speaking to the promise of Deltapoint and my invitation to the WAC investors to join us in our journey is because of the tremendous impact we can have in building a world-class healthcare technology company here in Oregon, radically changing and improving the way cancer is diagnosed in this country. And perhaps most importantly of all, you can help us win the war against breast cancer. So with that, I'd be happy to take your questions.